Hello and welcome to my review of Too Fast, Too Furious. Now, Too Fast, Too Furious is the sequel to The Fast and the Furious, released in 2003, that basically has no one from the first film except for one of the guys, one of the guys that is working for customs. He returns from the first one, and so does your boy Brian O'Connor, played by Paul Walker. Rest in peace, not the late great Paul Walker. But yeah, those are the only two returns. But we have a whole new cast of characters in this one, including, for the first time in the series, two characters that would go on to, become constants in the series from about 5 onwards. From about 5 onwards, they become constants from 5 all the way through to now, and they are Roman Pierce, portrayed by the then known as just Tyrese, but now everyone knows him as Tyrese Gibson. But yeah, Roman Pierce, portrayed by Tyrese Gibson, and Tej Parker, portrayed by Ludacris. So those two characters that would go on to become, fairly important characters. You've got Tej, who goes on to be the tech guy. Here, he's more of the money sort of. He's still that kind of tech guy almost, but not. He's not tech here. He's more car parts. I know all about the cars and stuff. So you've got Tej here, and obviously Roman, who are brilliant. You've got other characters like Monica Fuentes, played by Eva Mendes, and Suki, played by Devon Aoki. So a nice cast, a nice set of characters as well. Directed by John Singleton of Boys in the Hood and Shaft fame. So that's fun. Again, no Dominic Toretto, no one else other than that. So I still think the first one is better than this one, but don't get me wrong, this one is definitely better than Tokyo Drift. It's definitely better than Fast and Furious, and it's definitely better than Fast 5, if you ask me personally, and yeah, I do feel like it's better than Fast and Furious 8 or Fate of the Furious, depending on where you live. In the UK, that film's called Fast and Furious 8. I'm looking at the DVD now. It's Fast and Furious 8. But in most of the places, it's The Fate of the Furious. So yeah, that's fun. But yeah, it's just lots of fun. It's more. I always compare this one to Bad Boys 2 because they feel the same, but I think this is better than Bad Boys 2 for quite a while. Again, it's more street racing fun. It's just brilliant to see. I love the scene where they go into the garage and they split off, and there's just so many cars. It's brilliant. There's two really great actual proper races in this one. The first, the starting race, and then there's the race for the muscle cars halfway through the film, which is brilliant. It's about the right length as well, so that's fun. Again, the villain is here. There is a villain, whereas in the first one, it's more, there isn't one. So that's one thing that I feel like brings this film down, is that there clearly is a big bad, whereas in the first one, it's not really setting the world. It's just a story that doesn't involve good and bad. It's a story that involves characters coming together, and that's what's brilliant about the first one. And here there is obviously a set defined villain, and that doesn't make it any worse. It brings it down a bit for me, but it doesn't make it a terrible film because it has a villain. But obviously we introduced to the cars in this one. We introduced some pretty big cars. We've got the Evo and the Mitsubishi Evo 6, the Evo 6 and the Evo Spider, which are driven by Roman and Brian throughout the film. We have obviously the introduction of probably one of the more famous films cars associated with the series that isn't a Charger or a Supra, the Skyline, which Brian drives here for the first time. We see another Supras in this film. Actually, there's another Supra here. There's another RX-7 as well, and there's also an S2000 as well. So that's fun. But yeah, those are the main cars you see in this film. They also drive two muscle cars that I actually can't identify. But yeah, at the end of the film. But yeah, again, those are the main cars. Really, if you ask me, those are the main ones. Even on the box art, the Skyline and the Evo 8 are there as well. So cars-wise, again, it's got so many more wonderful cars, and it's great to that first race is really well done. The music by David Arnold here, and the original score by David Arnold here is just quite fun. As you'll be hearing in the background as this video goes up, it will be a piece of score in the background here, because again, that's partly courtesy. Again, I just want to give him a big shout out to Fast and Furious FM, because I wasn't able to find. It's not been officially released. The original scores for the first one and the second one haven't been officially released, and they're both up on his channel. So I linked in the last video. I said I was going to link the channel, but I didn't, and I'm not going to link the channel, but I'm going to link the video, the piece of score that, again, like I did in the last video, and you can get to his channel through that. It's a lot easier now to put more in the description, to be honest. But yeah, and I just wanted something I forgot to mention in the first review for the first one, but I did it for Marvel, and at the end of this film, I'm going to do a ranking, and in the video for Hobbs and Shaw, I will be putting that ranking in the description, like I did for the video for Falcon and the Winter Soldier the other day. So yeah, that'll be put out. I'll probably post it on Twitter too, but I probably in other news, obviously my Discord server has recently had a bot that tells everyone my uploads go up, put into it. That's fun, but that's a side note. Anyway, back to Too Fast, Too Furious. It's one I've always loved watching. I've always enjoyed it, and it has a special place for me because it came out in the year I was born. So I suppose that's something that it links to me. I suppose I never saw this one in cinema because I was literally, I think I was born like a while before it came out, which is, I was born, I can't remember. I know I was born in the year it came out. So yeah, obviously I don't know, but yeah, it is again a tremendous amount of fun, and I think the chemistry between Roman and Brian here is absolutely top notch. It's one of the things that really make this film stand out from some of the others, because unlike the other ones where Roman and Brian are in it, they don't get as much screen time together. Hell, they barely get any screen time together in the other ones, because it's mainly focused on the other ones where the two of them appear together. It's mainly focused on the relationships between Dom and Roman, and then Dom and Brian, and at some points Roman and Tej, which is quite funny. But yeah, I love the chemistry between those two. Again, all the action is really well done here. John Singleton, talented man, God rest his soul, passed away, which is very sad. But the action is so well done here. It has that just really cool vibe to it, and I really enjoy it. Again, it's just a great film to watch. But yeah, action is well done. There's a really good script behind it, and I think the way it's shot with the certain sequences and car shots are brilliant. And I think I still prefer the first one because it has this just brilliant feel to it. And I still think I prefer the soundtrack. Like I said, the first one's soundtrack isn't going to get beaten by anything anytime soon, and I'm being serious. Even anything coming out, the new films ain't going to beat the soundtrack. That soundtrack is god-like, and I mean it. But yeah, I even own the soundtrack to Hobbs and Shaw on my phone and the score, so that's the only one I own soundtrack and score for. I have select songs from other films on my phone, but yeah. Again, it's good to see some of the more impactful and important cars in the franchise debut here, mainly the Skyline, but the Evo 8 and the Evo Spider are brilliant too. It's good to see another Supra, and that starting lineup of cars in the first race. You have Brian's Skyline, Suki's S2000, Honda S2000, then you've got the Supra and the RX-7, so it's an interesting set of cars to begin with, but yeah. And I said Evo 8 again, it's Evo 6 here. The Evo 8 is the one that's in Tokyo Drift, so that's fun. Yeah, Evo 6 is the one that's here. And then there's an Evo 8 in Tokyo Drift, like I said, but we'll get to that. I act like I know everything about cars, but I only know a select few cars in the series. Like I said, I don't even know the name of the fucking muscle cars here. But again, it's a good point in the series that I feel like people, they don't completely overlook it, but I think people tend to just leave it out because it's not got Dom in it, and I think people do see, I see people feel like this one's better than Tokyo Drift, and I believe this is better than Tokyo Drift. I believe it's better than Fast and Furious, which is the one that came in 2009. It's just called Fast and Furious, so leave me the fuck alone. I think it's better than Fast 5. Like I said, I'm not going to go over this again, but it's a solid film, don't get me wrong. It has, again, the great chemistry with the mains, some brilliant racing scenes, brilliant action scenes. The plot's actually quite fun. The character of Carter Verone is just your typical bad guy that's very harsh and stuff, and he's nothing new. And I don't think the actor did a fine job with what he was given, but he's definitely not the best character this franchise has seen. He's just your typical drug lord trying to move his money, which is all I can really say about that. But again, the car action, car stunts, and everything like that is absolutely brilliant. It's just, again, there's another thing to mention with this film is that obviously when you start this film, it's in a completely different environment to the way the last one left off. And if you're going to say, oh, well, can we get some gaps, filling in gaps, there is in fact, and I think it's on this DVD, but I didn't watch it before watching the film because it's not on like Natry or anything. But there's in fact something called the Turbocharged Prelude to Too Fast and Furious, which basically, I think it's all silent pretty much. Like no one speaks in it. Fairly, I can't remember, but it's basically a short film about 4 or 5 minutes, I think, that picks up directly after the events of the first one and literally takes place between the end of the Fast and the Furious and the beginning of Too Fast and Furious. So it shows us how he moves across the country and stuff. It shows us how he gets the skyline that he has at the beginning of the second one, and it shows him doing some things and painting up and stuff. So that's there. I didn't watch it in front of this because, I mean, it doesn't matter. I only recently managed to acquire the ability to watch the other short film, Los Bandoleros, because I had to buy it was bullshit. Yeah, it's been a fun one. It's a film that I do fully love, and I think obviously it's easy to compare it to the first one, and I don't think it's not as good. I think it stands shoulder to shoulder with the first one as being, on the same level, if not an inch below the first one in terms of quality. I cannot tell you how just brilliant the first one actually is. I generally think it's one of my favourite films. I think it might even actually be in my top 10 favourite. I think, it is in my top 10 favourite films of all time. It is. It's a brilliant fucking film. And obviously the music elevates it to just a godly level, but I cannot explain by saying actually how good this one is as well, because it is brilliant. And obviously going forward, it would bring in the director Justin Lin, who directed 3 all the way through to 6, and then is coming back for 9. But yeah, what can I say? Too Fast, Too Furious is just another pillar on top of the brilliance that the Fast and Furious series holds, and it is definitely the 1-2 punch at the top, if you ask me. For me, it's 6 and 7 are brilliant, but I still think 1 and 2 are better than. I used to think 6 and 7 were the best ones, but I have to admit, going back and watching these two, I can't deny I find more enjoyment out of watching the first and the second one than I do watching 6 and 7, even though 6 is always a brilliant one in my opinion. I think that these original two are probably, if you like cars, they are the best car movies ever made, period. I'm willing to fully admit that they are the 2 best car movies ever made. And I do recommend watching these two. Tokyo Drift is one that I am, again, not going to talk about until I actually sit down and watch it, because I can't comment until I rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a while. But I highly recommend you go watch the first and the second ones, because they're both absolutely fucking brilliant. And I cannot highly recommend these two films enough. I cannot recommend this series enough if you love cars. And again, and even so, if you don't like cars, the characters' journeys that you go through and the relationships you feel towards the characters as a viewer can really sort of, you feel like you're part of the family, which is just brilliant. And but yeah, it's a series I'll never stop having faith in, and no matter how crazy as fuck it goes, I'm never gonna stop telling people to watch the first two. I'm never gonna stop watching them, no matter how fucking crazy and how fucking unimaginable and unimpossible it gets. I'm pointing at you, that one scene in the trailers for the newest one where they fucking drive off a fucking cliff and they fucking somersault around it. That's not realistic at all, but it's fucking awesome. So that's what I've got to say. It may not be realistic, but my argument for it not being realistic is that you literally go to the cinemas to escape from realism. Why do you want that? Sure, obviously there's a lot of great movies that are realistic and down to earth, but I love too. But it's always great to go to the cinema and just see this most over the top, out of this world shit to just take you out of the shitty real world, But yeah, that's the first 2 installments, and from here on in, I mean, it gets interesting to say the least. Yeah, that's Too Fast, Too Furious. I think it is one of the only cases where, when you look at a series to have a sequel, that most of the core cast from the first one didn't actually return, and that's odd. And it's odd that usually when that happens, there's no other sequel after that, because the core cast wasn't there, so people didn't go and see it. But I suppose there must have just been, and I can understand why, something so special about Fast and Furious that they couldn't let it just die off after the second one. And I'm so glad they didn't, because although when we get to Tokyo Drift, things get a little fucky, but I can't comment any more than that. I haven't seen Tokyo Drift in ages, so it's not fair to judge it on eyes that I haven't seen in a while. So, and it's also good to see Han coming back after. But Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift is where the timeline gets all fucky. But I just wanted to mention something that I didn't think I mentioned before in the first one, is that video game wise, the series hasn't had as many as you've seen. The most recent one obviously being Fast and Furious Crossroads, Xbox on PS4. I have that on the Xbox One, and it's alright. But for me, Fast and Furious in video games will always be remembered by the original film had an arcade game called the Fast and Furious Arcade, and it is one of my favorite arcade games of all the time. I see it literally everywhere. It's one of the most common driving arcade machine I actually think is in existence. Like, there was one down at my local Odeon. There's several. There's in each arcade down on my local seafront. There's at least one in each arcade. There's a couple up in Butlins. They're literally fucking everywhere. You can't escape them. And it's because it's such a good fucking game. I think Tokyo Drift also had an arcade game which I played, I think, somewhere, but it's not as good as the first one. And one of my dreams is to own the arcade cabinet for the first movie, which would be so cool. But yeah, that's something I forgot to mention, that the first one had an absolutely killer arcade game. But yeah, that is Too Fast, Too Furious. It is a good stepping point into the franchise. It builds upon the first one, but also completely doesn't throw the second one away, because we've still got Brian and stuff. But there are lots of references to the first one, like when there's references when when Brian and Rome have a conversation about letting the guy go in LA. That's obviously Dom, you know. So it's brilliant that they reference it, but still add more to the mythos. And the car's brilliant, the girls are beautiful, and you know that's all you really want in these films. Brilliant cars, lots of fun, great characters, and brilliant action. And again, what can I say is that this film brings that in heaps, and also great chemistry from the two leads, which is great to see. Like I said, their chemistry is one of the high points of this film, and it's just so well made, and I can't recommend it enough. But yeah, thank you guys for watching my review of Too Fast, Too Furious. First one again, because I'm getting used to saying that. But yeah, tomorrow will be Tokyo Drift. May or may not, like I said, it depends on if I am. I've got things to do, so it depends on if I am going to do it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day, and yeah, bye bye for now.